Abundant rise, beautiful rise, grand rising to my divine reflections. It's your girl Cass. Welcome to my page or channel, whatever. I'm in such a good mood, y'all. I'm in such a good mood. It's been such a blissful week for me because of my, it was my new year, solar return. And I've just been flowing. And yesterday, I went on a little travel with one of my divine reflections. And, things were coming through. And I just wanted to speak about it, touch base about it. There's a few things I'm kind of going to be, maybe a little bit all boom, 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 all over the place. But just keep up with me, guys, because everything is divinely connected in some kind of way, shape, form, or matter. So I think the first thing I'm going to talk about is boundaries. Boundaries are very important. I know we talk about it all the time, but boundaries are put in place to protect you and the people around you and the people that you love and care about, but mostly yourself, right? So sometimes we don't understand that. I've talked about this before, but understand that help is not always help if it's not being perceived as that, if it's not being asked in that way. And you got to respect what people tell you if they need space. Because anything that crosses their boundaries is a violation, right? And I think sometimes we only think violation is like something physical, or it has to be, or you did this to me kind of thing. But in actuality, it's a violation is just not respecting my boundaries, not listening to me, going against how I say or feel, especially if I'm being communicative to you in that manner. That's something I had to learn not too long ago for myself. Because what happens is you end up overextending yourself, right? And that's some inner child trauma. Because sometimes we want to show up for people and think that we're being kind or we're doing something good. But if it's not being received as that, then you're actually not being helpful and you're overstepping your boundaries. Okay? So that's just something to think about and just assess for yourself. Like, read the energy, read the situation, because it's one of those things where I would hate to be like, yo, I need space, and you just end up clinging on more to me. It's gonna make me want to get away from you as much as possible, because I already expressed to you that that's not what I needed. So you're not hearing me, you're not seeing me. And so we have to work with each other in that manner where we can see and hear, because sometimes we just need space by ourselves. We need to just sit in the moment and feel things out and address it, which goes back to emotions. Actually, I think emotions, especially in this day and age, is not being understood the way that it's supposed to. And that's why I'm always like going in and out of what I'm saying, because I know it's so delicate, right? I say this all the time. Spirituality is a very delicate and dangerous situation, meaning we live in a society where, we can talk about it. If you feel like you were born this, but you feel like you're another gender, it's like, well, if I feel this way, then this is what it is. Well, in actuality, emotions are important, but it's really about what triggered it, right? That spark. I think we get caught up in just the emotion, but not realizing where it even started from, like the root of it, if you get what I'm saying. Because it didn't just come out of nowhere. Y'all, like, I feel like we just be like, oh, well, I feel this way. Why aren't we asking the questions of why we feel this way? How do we get to the point of feeling this way? Whether that's happiness, whether that's anger, whether that's pain, whether that's confusion. We need to sit with it to find what the root cause of why we're feeling what we're feeling. That is more important, I feel like, than the actual feeling. Because sometimes, like, it's like when I did a live about this too, when they try to sell you happiness. At the end of the day, happiness is a climax, right? You reach the top point, you're so excited, but if we're being realistic, can you stay at that happiness all the time? No, if anything, it's contentment, it's peace, and it's harmony. Those are things that you can maintain all of the time. But within that peace and happiness, don't think that you won't feel all different kinds of emotions, right? That's why I love to use the heart as an example, because it's all encompassing. It's never just one thing over the other. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. It's moving. It's vibrating. It's never just in the middle, which is a flat line. It's all encompassing. It's always up and down. That's how we move. That's how molecules move. That's how atoms move. Because at the end of the day, anything that happened, it's just a snapshot in moment in time. But as soon as you turn around, that thing is something completely different. It's completely different for what you expect it to be or what you think it is. So we have to embrace all of it, right? That's why I'd be like, I'm neutral. Like, that's why, and I used to say, like, I care, but then I don't care. But then, I can understand that could be like a mind thing. And it's just like, okay, let me just say that I'm neutral, because I take the good, I take the bad, which is, I don't really like to use because it can get emotional when you're really talking about it. But really, it's just negative and positive. You need both to make the spark boom, right? Because without the spark, then aka your triggers, unity, aka your triggers, or where the root is starting from, you have to use both energies. Again, you're all encompassing. So you can't feel away thinking that even when it comes to spirituality, that something is that is all light. And again, I always say this too, to be the light, you have to be surrounded by darkness, because light makes nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then dark is just everything, but you can't illuminate it to see what it actually is. So that's why both is necessary. Okay, so I need us to get to a point where we can find peace and harmony with both energies, so that we're not feeling away, that you're at peace, that you're in harmony. Okay, I need us to work on that more. And another thing that came up, I talked about this before, and I've talked about it in different ways, shape, or forms. But I do want to bring it back up, because I think it's something that, again, it's really delicate. It's like a seed that's being planted, just like a mustard seed, right? It's something so small, but the impact can be really great, because what they say, a faith of a mustard seed can move mountains, okay? So this is going back to patriarchy and where it comes to the imbalance of the masculine and feminine energy, right? And I spoke about this before, where it's just like, in this plane, because we have to be realistic, right? We both, hi Damari, we both embody both energies, but in this plane, we have to be honest with ourselves for what it is. Call it semantics, right? The details of things. In this plane, we are not equal, right? That was something that is like a programming. We are here to balance, aka the harmony, aka, you know what I mean? We're here to balance each other. Because if we were equal, then we would both be doing the same thing that the other person is doing. And if that's the case, what are we really offering each other if we're both doing the same thing? Understand to overstand where I'm coming from, okay? If we're here to complement each other, then if we were doing the same thing, we wouldn't need each other. Because it would be like, I'm doing good or bad all by myself. And it's just like, that's not why we're here. We're here to connect. We're here to build with one another. So if we're in constant competition with each other, thinking that, oh, I could do what you do, and then we're not seeing the divinity in each other. You get what I'm saying? AKA the divine and the divine masculine and feminine energies. I think that we got so confused in our roles because it's not our fault either. Society made us this. That was causing separation. Getting the men out of that house where the divine feminine are now super masculine. And then now, because a lot of divine masculine were only raised by the feminine, they have feminine attributes as well. It's such an imbalance, right? But if we actually was embodying what our divinity is, we would actually be able to flow and give to one another and be at peace with each other, right? So one of the mistakes that I feel like women, like, we're supposed to be rising right now, right? In consciousness and in feeling and all of these energies. But I think it's a little bit displaced because we're thinking about, for the feminine, that we're thinking about it in the physical. We've always been spiritual, aka your intuition. You know what I mean? Like, aka like your discernment. It's very necessary. This is why the women led, because they are able to foresee things that the man couldn't. But this is also to protect the woman and the men. We have to. It's just like, remember growing up where your mom be like, "Yo, don't go to that party today." It's because her intuition is telling her. It's coming from the spiritual. Like, we're more spiritual. We should not be focusing on the physical. Men are the physical. They're the builders. They bring things together. They create things in the they help bring all the pieces. And we're like, okay, this goes here and there. And then they make it happen, right? So this is why we're getting confused, where women are so caught up in the physical, trying to do this and trying to be like the man. And it's just like, that's not your place, baby. That's not your place. That's the man place. Let him lead in the areas where he leads, and you lead in the areas that you lead. Okay? This goes back to the Avatar. I don't know if you've seen Avatar: Way of the Water. It's when Jake Sully had to go to the water tribe, right? Even though he was asking the chief, the man, he knew that if his wife didn't give him the okay, it was never gonna go down, because it's her intuition, it's her discernment, hey beautiful, that allowed him to be like, okay, if she gives the okay, then you're good. But if not, I cannot allow that to happen, because now you're gonna disrupt their balance of their household and their village, which is not okay, right? And I was literally talking to Shireen about this the other day, where it's just like, anybody who's truly successful in this plane has a divine counterpart. Okay, we work together, we bring the harmony. And anybody who is single, who make it to the top, please understand to overstand that they had to sacrifice a lot of things in order to get to that spot, like their feelings, their emotions, their family, their friends, because now there's an imbalance. Because sometimes when it comes to men, they be laser focused on certain things, but the women allow you to see the bigger picture of everything. Okay? Again, we must remember, we're here to find balance and harmony. We're not in competition to each other, but we have to allow each other to lead in the ways that we're supposed to. Okay? Which brings me back to the topic of the spiritual community. Okay? I need us to put into action what we're saying. Okay? How is it that we know the divine feminine is supposed to be leading in a certain area and manner, and we're not putting them in the position? Again, I spoke about this before, but I think it's necessary that we dive in it again, because the seed that was planted in the 3D matrix, I see it transitioning into the spiritual matrix, and it's just like, you know what it is, but why aren't you acting upon it? Is it the ego? You get what I'm saying? Like, we have to ask these questions. It's just like, why are we not putting the women in the position? Because in all honesty, every time I get on these lives, right, and the divine feminine comes up, we are always flowing. It's not combative. It's like, if anything, I'm adding, and we're adding and adding and adding and adding to each other. And in the areas where I see the divine masculine, I see it's more competition and combative. And it's just like, that's not what it's about. You get what I'm saying? So we have to see the bigger picture and ask ourselves, what is in us not allowing us to put the divine feminine in the position? Because even still to this day, it's more masculine energies that speaks up, that's talking. And it's just like, so we're missing a key ingredient in that aspect. So we have to really dive deep, because that's our place and our position in spirituality, to speak about that. Because we're going to cover us, y'all, and the children. We cover everything, right? Because we are the middle between the fathers and the child, right? We the one who create the balance within all of it, aka the notion of the nation. Okay, when it comes to the nation, you have to look at the position of the women to see where you're going. Because if the women are not good, how is your home gonna be good? How is your children gonna be good? We have to understand to understand that. And that's why we have to kind of be careful too. This is not no shade. This is just something I'm aware of, okay? And I'm going to speak on it. And if you see it, you see it. Because what's happening too... the men who are in some of the leadership roles in the spiritual community can also be predators. I'm going to just say it like that. If you know, you know. Okay? That's why we're always asking men to like step up in your divinity, because I need you to know that you don't have to go after younger divine feminine energy in order for you to feel like you're the man. You need to know that you're the man. I'm all about empowering our divine masculine, because at the end of the day, we need you too. And I feel like I need you to know that within yourself, because that's a 3D matrix thing that doesn't allow you to see yourself for who you are and what you bring to the table. Like, yes, I'm here to empower you, but I need you to see that within yourself, so that your ego doesn't get in the way for us to work together in the way that we should be working together in harmony. Okay? So just be mindful of that, because as the divine feminine, especially when they may be lacking in experience, we just see a divine masculine, who's talking that good stuff, and we gravitate divine energy who, he knows what he's talking about. He's in that position. But don't be blindsided by their real intentions and the manipulation. Okay? Because divine feminine energy, I need you just as well that I need the divine masculine to know who they are and what their powers. I need you to know who you are and what your power is and what you bring to the table. Because at some point there's a complete imbalance. Because what I'm seeing is either the divine feminine is completely such in their masculinity, they're like, okay, we don't need men. Not the truth. Or I see the divine feminine so much in a place of submission that she's disrespecting her own divinity, and I don't like that. You get what I'm saying? It's just like the word submission. I don't even like that word, because I do things because I see you and you see me, and we're here to work together. What is submission when we're just actually complimenting each other? Okay? That's a enslavement mindset. I don't like that. I really don't. It's very, like, who am I submitted to? Especially if you are God. Gods don't submit to nobody. Okay? Gods and goddesses do not submit to nobody. We don't bend for nobody, because we have to be in alignment to see things for what it is and to address things for what it is, because that's the only way we can truly take accountability within each other and to be able to expand and grow. Exactly. We are here to uplift and empower each other. Not to be, oh, I need you to fall down to me, or no. Hear me, I hear you. See me, I see you. We are divine reflections of each other. We are whole. We need to become one. So it's not one being one over the other, because that would be an imbalance once again. So we have to have harmony. We have to have balance. And it's not about submission, but actually hearing, seeing, and feeling each other to the point that we can actually work with each other. It's a team effort. And that's what the children need to see, so that we can actually continue to grow and expand. Because this whole competition, it should be more about collaboration, not competition with each other. Because we're only being a disservice to ourselves. Because if you didn't need one another, what would be the point? What would be the point? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the whole point of this experience is to build, to grow our connections, to expand. Okay? I need us to really, because like right now, a lot of us are still operating from a place of hurt, especially inner child trauma. And it's an ongoing thing. It's going back to the word healed, right? That word, especially on this plane, there's no such thing as healed. You are always healing, baby. You just get to a point where you're able to flow with it. Your reaction time gets better, where you're not taking it so personal, and you're able to see things in a way like you see the triggers. But the healing is always ongoing. You just get to a place where you're at peace with it, where you're not so much impacted by it, but understand, to understand what is going on. So until we not be in such a lack mentality, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it's hard for us to really see each other in what it is and in our divinity. Because again, this is a team effort, but in this way, we have to know our roles, okay? Men, please be the physical, the protector, in the front. But when it comes to the inner, the spiritual, that's the women's. And then we work together and we manifest it. Okay, that's how manifestation work. Because we're givers at the end of the day. Should I touch on that? Because that was a programming too. I'm not gonna hold y'all. That was definitely a program too, saying that we're receivers as far as women, but in actuality, we just give. We give. It's like Mother Nature. It's like fruits. They bear from the feminine energy. Like bearing fruits, that's all feminine energy, and we're there to share it with all. But in order to give off that energy, we also need to protect that energy. And that's where the divine masculine comes in. Again, divine harmony. Because if the divine feminine who's giving, right, like Mother Nature, is not being protected, then she gets abused. You understand what I'm saying? That's where the lack is gonna come in, because now you're searching for this abundance and you can't even find it because she's not being protected by any way, shape, or form. So how does that work? That's where now we're all lacking. And now she has to be a certain kind of way where she didn't need to be that way. If you get what I'm saying. Okay? But let me check my little notebook. Oh, intuition. Who, child? Intuition has been the theme of my healing throughout this whole process, because it's almost like these sayings, like giving people the benefit of the doubt. It's really doubting your intuition and disrespecting your intelligence and what your spirituality is, because we put ourselves now in these positions where now we have to heal from these, right? We're putting ourselves in this position where we have to now go through this stuff that we didn't even have to go through just in order for us to learn that, well, you knew. You been know. You always knew. But you wanted to push it aside because we was programmed about other people's emotions and what they're feeling. But it's just like your intuition is there to protect you. Okay? It's your GPS, your guidance system. And it's just like your ancestors are there. Your angels are there, are always giving you this sign. And when we don't honor that, now we're putting ourselves in a position to get be in the crossfire. And we literally have no business doing that. And it doesn't have to come from, I think that's what it is. It's the people pleasing. It doesn't have to come from a negative place. We can just be like, listen, my ancestors told me like this is just not for me, and that's okay. I think we need to understand, like, on this journey, yes, it's about connecting and building, but understanding that not everybody is where you're at. Not everybody's. Ooh, thank you, Shireen, for being on, because I'm going to talk about that. Yes. Your intuition about that. So please honor yourself. Know that you are God. Know that you have a system that's always working for you and in your favor and always guiding you towards what is for you. Okay? And anything that's not for you, please pay attention to the signs. Please pay attention to the signals, because your body is a divine intelligence also and does not lie to you. If anything, we lie to ourselves. We disrespect ourselves. We dishonor ourselves when we're not paying attention to the signs and symbols and the energies that are telling us what we already know. Okay? So save yourself from that trauma, because there's some things that we just do to ourselves that we really didn't have to learn from. If you understand to overstand. Okay? Are they great? Can you expand on it? Oh, of course. But if you don't have to, save yourself the trouble. Okay? And this is going to bring me to a point when it comes to readers. Listen, again, we are all examples. This is not no shade. I use myself as an example. I use my reflections as an example, because that's how we grow. Okay? Because if you like always get triggered like, oh, it's me. Like, listen, it's not about that. You're here to allow each other to grow. That's why if you hear me talk, I'm always grateful and gratitude for my reflections. Because even when you're doing, whether it's positivity or negativity, you allow me to see things within myself of what I do want to be and what I don't want to be. Okay? And sometimes we have to sit and reflect, because sometimes we have blind spots. Okay? That's why we need each other, because sometimes we can't see ourselves or open our minds to these, perceptions or ideologies that we haven't opened ourselves to. So there was something that I seen the other day that was posted. And again, it was her opinion, which is fine. But I did want to share a perspective when it comes to healers. First of all, a lot of you don't know the back end of it, of what they have to do for themselves in order to protect themselves. Okay? Again, it's just like, even when it comes to celebrities, I think you guys only see like the surface of it, the 3D of it, that you don't really understand what they deal with it with the back end of it. Because you may think you're enslaved, baby. No, the celebrities are enslaved way more than you are. Okay? Way more than you are. So with that, so that's just an example. So, but I'm gonna go back to the readers. Please respect readers. Please respect them, because when the reflection stated that she didn't feel like, readers or healers, whoever, should get paid for their energy, I did not appreciate that, because, baby, if you're working and you're expecting to get compensated, did whatever work you do, because that's their work, right? They're a practitioner. Just like you so-called doctor. They're a practitioner too. They're doing the work. So what makes you think there wouldn't be an exchange of energy? And let me just say this too. Nothing in this life is free. Even information. Even that, you have to pay attention. You see, pay attention. You have to do something. It's a reciprocal energy. It cannot be one-sided. What are you giving in return? Okay? Even when it comes to your ancestors, the Orishas, whoever, you're supposed to give them offerings. Whether that's in prayer, whether that's in libations, whether that's in gifts, whatever it is that they're asking. How is it that you can ask? Ooh, and I did a live about that. Where you need to look at yourself when it comes to God, right? How is it that you can pray to God, and what are you doing for God in return for you to even receive what it is that you're asking? We must ask ourselves, is this a reciprocal relationship or is it one-sided? How are you honoring Mother Nature, for example, right? She gives you all of this. She gives you air. She gives you trees. She gives you fruit. She gives you vegetables. She gives you all of these things. And what are you giving to her in return? These are just energies. Y'all throw away scraps in your trash and shit, when you could be giving it back to Mother Nature. Like, what are you doing? You're praying to God. Well, okay, how are you honoring God? How are you moving that God should be blessing you in such a way? How are you moving for your ancestors, asking them to protect you and guide you and all these? What are you doing for them in return? So for me, it was like, how dare you? And you want to live an abundant life. You want to have nice things. But what readers don't deserve nice things too? How are you repaying them for their energy? Do you know the things that they have to do, child, in order to even be there present for you so they're not projecting? We're talking spiritual baths at least once or twice a week, honey. We're talking about saging. We're talking about crystals. We're talking about prayers. We're talking about offerings. We're talking about teas. Do you know how much that we live in a 3D plane? We live in a matrix. So in this plane, the currency is money. And if not, bring something else. What can you give? Give something. Can I make you a meal? Can I give you something that I have, like the bartering system? What is the exchange? So for you to be like, no, they don't deserve that, I have to look at you like, so what are you offering? And please, you be in their position, because not even that, when they're offering readings and people are just coming to them, they're opening themselves up to any kind of fucking energy that you don't even know what's coming. So they have to be on 100. Like, what are you? Okay, because this 3D work that y'all be doing is nothing compared to the spiritual matrix, baby. That's a whole different ball game. Please understand to overstand that. So please respect them. That's God's work. You understand what I'm saying? Please respect them. They deserve their offerings. Just as much as if you doing work, you expect to be reciprocated as well. It's one thing if everything was just freely given and we didn't have to pay for nothing. And you know what? When it comes to the real ones, whether that's readers, healers, herbalists, they do give out a lot of free things. So don't play yourself. I don't know who you interacting with, okay? Because the real ones do give, but not to their deficit. I think that's wrong. And that's not okay to have that mindset. Okay? We need to really, whoever thinks that way, just because you're doing God's work, that you shouldn't be reciprocated, that's crazy to me. Because the ancestors don't work for nothing either. You better be giving something, even if the least, because they know what you got and don't have, okay? They're not ignorant. The same way those readers and herbalists are not ignorant too. If they see that you're in need, they're going to give it to you, and their ancestors are going to tell them to give it to you in that way. So please, don't disrespect the divinity of the works that's happening. Everybody deserves an abundant life, especially the people who's really working for the divine. Okay? So please, let's change our mindset. And honestly, that's a lack mentality. No shade, but that's kind of a lack mentality, because how can you tell somebody, like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm done with that conversation, okay? But I just really want us to see each other, respect each other, honor each other, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, because we all need each other, okay? That is the point. That is the message. And I want us to really, like, do the inner work so we can actually see each other, okay? Like, see each other, not just in the physical, but in the spiritual, okay? Because we are more alike than we are unalike, okay? And I think that's the word for today. I think that's the word for today. Huh? The earth is beautiful. It's giving. It's giving. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm out here I'm grounding today. The weather has been, like, beautiful since yesterday and today. And yeah, please. Okay, maybe that was the message that my sister needed to tell me. Please ground during this time. Grounding is so important. The energies are high. Allah is being revealed. I need you guys to really sit with self. Talk to mother. Because the table is being shook, okay? The table is being shook. This plan is being shook. A lot of things are coming. There's a lot of spiritual attacks. Boom. That's what it is. There are a lot of spiritual attacks that are happening right now. So if you're not grounded within yourself and your ancestors and your intuition, I'm sorry for you, but you're gonna get dragged. So it's very important for you to sit with yourself and ground, because it's already happening. Whether y'all know it or not, the Orishas are here. The Titans are rising. The mission is in. It's rolling. Okay? The war, it's the time of no more. So if you're not grounded and rooted within yourself, child, I don't know what's gonna happen to you, but just hope you're divinely protected and you doing the work. Because again, if you're not in tune with your ancestors, your spiritual side, and you not seeing things, you're gonna get blindsided, and it's gonna be worse than whatever you thought happened to you before. It's gonna be worse. It's magnified. Just like this sun out here. It may be chilly, but that sun is hot. That sun is hot. The solar flares are coming. We are rising again. And whoever is not in alignment with that, you will get left behind. I'm not here to fearmonger. It's just really to take caution. If anything, it's a warning. Prepare yourself. Preparation is key. Just prepare yourself. That's what it's about. Preparation. Because for you to continue to act like you don't know what's really going on, and all of these things are being exposed, and choosing to be ignorant and complacent in what's really going on, it's only going to be your downfall and your demise. That's all I got to say. So yeah, ground. Talk to Mother Nature. Like, really, ground. Ask for guidance. Ask for discernment. Ask for your intuition to be, to get stronger. Because, again, you're gonna have, split-second reaction times when these things are coming through. And when they say go left, you have to go left. When they say go right, you're gonna have to go right. There's no second guessing what's being told to you. You have to listen to that, because if not, you take the wrong step and it's over for you. So get in line, get in tune. That's all I gotta say, and ground yourself. But thank you, Reflections, for coming through, hearing me. Okay, I hope the messages hit for anybody. And if nobody told you today, let me be the first to tell you, Reflection, that I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And gratitude. I hope y'all have a blissful rest of your day.